Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
And new undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael the Count Bisping.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
Hello, what's going on, Mr. Bisping? How are you, Mr. Athletic, Mr. Middleweight of the decade, apparently? I'm very lucky. The company that I'm in right now, middleweight of the fucking decade. Forget that, baby boy.
Listen, you know, I mean, I don't write the articles. I don't work for these websites. You know, if that is the accolade that people want to put on me, who am I? Who am I? I am just merely a man, Lewis. If that's what they want to say, if that's what the people say, if that's what's out there in the universe, then, you know, so be it.
There you go. I mean, put that in the, so hold on now. What are all of your titles and accolades here? So you are.
Oh, no. We're not doing this. Sorry. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't in the notes. This wasn't said. This wasn't spoken of. And
yes,
then we can't start. You're a liar. What? We can't start the show. Well, I haven't looked at fucking Harrington's notes because I don't need Harrington's notes. My notes, what we discuss doing here.
You're the middleweight of the decade. You don't need fucking notes.
Hey, listen, we don't need to go through my plethora of accolades, okay? And I reckon had we been doing the drinking game today, which was scheduled, so my apologies to everybody, I reckon that would have been a shot if I said plethora, sycophants, 100%. I saw some funny suggestions on YouTube. I bitched out, ladies and gentlemen, because I said, listen, it's the start of a new week. I've got a busy week. I don't want to be shit-faced at 12:30 on a Monday morning. It's not a good start to a week. 2 weeks from today, December 23rd, we will do the drinking game then. It will be a lot of fun. But, yeah, I don't want to be shit-faced at the start of a new week, Lewis.
It's going to be a problem for me that day because we have the Gas Digital Christmas party, which you're invited to, Bisping. I don't know if you're going to make it out to New York, but if you could, I will tell you right now, that would be a great way to do it. We do the drinking game in person on December 23rd after the Gas Digital Christmas party. I'm going to be a fucking mess. I'm not going to be able to walk after we do the Gas Digital Christmas party. Drinking game on Believe You Me the next morning. It's going to be a problem. So look out for that. It's going to be pretty crazy. I saw a lot of great suggestions as well. I think that if you're going to play along with us, we have to have some sort of, maybe they can sign a waiver and send it to us because I'm not going to be responsible for anybody dying during the Believe You Me drinking game.
Yeah, listen, I'm planning a trip in January. So maybe we'll do it in person in January because I have family here. They land from Australia tomorrow. Rebecca's brother and an entire family here for Christmas. That's going to be beautiful. So if you want to put it off, if what you're saying, if I'm hearing this correctly, that you're bitching out from the drinking game because you can't keep up with a real man, if that's what you're saying, it's okay. It's okay, Lewis. Listen, it doesn't make you, it's not big and it's not clever. It's not. You know,
I'll play the drinking game right now. Give me a bottle of whiskey. I'm not even a pussy. Bisping was going to do it with beer or fucking white wine or some fucking lemonade spritzer or some horse shit. I'll be a fucking man about it. I'm not afraid, but whatever. That will be coming up very soon. A lot of fun stuff to talk about on the show today. This is a very big weekend of fighting, very big weekend for both of us. I'm actually, the fact that I'm in a good mood right now is surprising because I'm very stressed out right now.
What is going on, Lewis? I know you're in Detroit at the weekend, the Motor City, and no doubt killing it, slaying it, killing it, I think is the phrase that comedians use. I'm sure you totally killed it the weekend. So what is going on? What is the cause for this aggravation in your life?
I was slinging dick all throughout Detroit. We did shows in Kalamazoo as well.
You mean you were super successful all weekend?
Yes. I sold many tickets. I was, I motivated people. I surprised many. So, yeah, so it was great. Thank you very much, Detroit, for everyone coming out. If you guys want to see me on tour, I'm going all over the place. Louis J. Gomez presents LouisJGomez.com. You can grab tickets. But the last day in Detroit, first of all, the day before, the first day, right before I get on stage, right before I'm about to step on stage, I pull my phone out to look at the time. It slips out of my hand, and I didn't have a screen protector on it because I broke the screen protector. And I just ordered a new phone like a week ago, so I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. Cracks, shatters the whole screen. And I'm like, oh, fine, whatever. I guess I won't be doing any drugs off my phone this weekend, but what?
That is a pet hate of mine. I'm sorry to interrupt your story.
No, not at
I have
all.
3 children in this house. Two of them are teenagers. Well, one of them's in college. And of course, we have Megan, Ellie's friend as well. And they don't have cases on their fucking phones. And guess what? If they break their phones, guess who pays for it? Guess who's sending them to the mall with money in their pocket to have it fixed? Me. So if I spot them in the house with no case on, there's a very serious lecture, and a long lecture at that, coming their way pretty soon. So that's a pet hate of mine, number 1, Lewis. How very irresponsible and foolish of you not to have a screen protector.
It's just, you know what it is? I'm so ADD that it's not even that I didn't want one. It's not like I made a conscious decision. It just wasn't, there was no urgency because I was getting a new phone anyway. And then it's just such a pain in the ass to put it on. I never do it right. It's just annoying. It's one of those things that, like, who the hell wants to go find a fucking screen protector, spend the time putting it on? It just wasn't happening, right? So I break the phone.
I actually have no screen protector on. I don't know what I'm talking about. I have a case. I'm talking about a case. Screen protectors are a pain in the ass. But you were saying, carry on.
Yeah.
My apologies.
So the last day I'm there, I take literally the last thing I'm doing before I'm leaving. I'm getting ready to go home. I take an Uber back to my hotel room, and I left my phone in the Uber. Flying out 5 hours later, I got to be on a flight. The problem is, like, there's no phone number to call for Uber. There's no way if you don't have the app to hit them up and to message your driver in app. There's no way to get in touch with the driver right there. You could sign into the I guess the regular website, but I didn't know which email address was associated with it. So there was, and then I'm trying to hit up the different online forms to fill out. You fill out a ticket, and they email you back, and nobody's getting back to me. So that's it. My phone is just gone.
Well, that is very annoying. And losing a phone, we all know how stressful it is. But the first thing I would ask myself, and I'm going to ask you, is when was the last time you backed up the phone? That's the real question. Never mind trying to get the handset back. That's one thing. Get the handset. That's great. It's going to cost you some money if you lose it and you're going to buy a new one. But it's the stuff on the phone, the contacts, the details, the family pictures of you and James lording it up at this mansion in Jamaica, stuff like that. Memories, Lewis. When was the last time you backed up the phone?
I don't back it up, but I will tell you this much. Any picture that's worthwhile has been posted to Instagram. So all of my memories, Instagram is taken care of for me. I don't need memories. I can smoke as much weed as I want. I got that. But the amount of naked pictures of women that are on my phone, if somebody cracks that phone, it's fucking over, baby boy. I'll tell you right now.
Well, they can't crack the phone. That's the first thing. What they will do is just bring it back to factory settings, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they can get in phones like that these days. But Lewis, why don't you back your phone up? Are you absolutely out of your fucking mind? So all your contacts and stuff like that, gone.
They're on Google. I always save my contacts to Google. So most of them are in there still. Like, I didn't have Brian's number saved for some reason. It's in my, it's not like, it only says some, I don't know. I'm fucking stupid. I'm old. I have no idea how to, like, the cloud. I don't know what a fucking cloud is. I have no clue. If you ask me to describe what a cloud is, I'm like, I don't know. I have no clue. It's a thing in the air. We have our pictures and our texts on it.
The cloud scares me. I don't understand the cloud either. And if I don't understand it, just like all humans, it scares me. The cloud, it's constantly trying to send things to the cloud. I'm like, no, I don't. There's a lot of personal private shit on there. Okay, what? It's going to go to the cloud? I mean, who's running the cloud? Who's in charge of the cloud? Who's maintaining the cloud? You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on. So the cloud, yeah, I'm not a fan of the cloud.
And that's how all of those cell phone hacks got done anyway, right? Somebody hacked into the cloud, which whatever the fuck that means. Whoa, hold on. Sorry, that went off. Oh. That was my bad. So yeah, somebody hacked into the fucking cloud or whatever it is, and they take all these pictures from these celebrities. So I don't understand. Yeah, the fappening. Oh, you remember the fappening, Michael Bisping.
Well, I only know about the fappening because you told me about it. You told me some pictures of, I think it was Jennifer Lawrence or something like that. Yeah, I've got a memory, Lewis. Just like you, I remember things. Even though I had a long and highly decorated fight career, I still remember conversations that took place. So going back to the Uber. So you're going to fuck around. You're going to call Uber, old-fashioned
There was no
way.
calling, no calling them. Here's what happened. I ended up having to come back to New York. I got a shit phone because I'm waiting for my iPhone 11 in the mail. It's coming on Wednesday. So I had to I couldn't go 3 days without a phone. That's psychotic. 3 days without a phone is an eternity. You're walking around. It's like your brain is missing. Imagine using just your brain capacity. If I have to find directions, I want to find a new pizza place. What are you going to ask somebody? You're going to fucking scream into the air? How do you fucking find a pizza place? You just have to walk around until you bump into a pizza place. It's psychotic. If I want to Google something, if I'm arguing with Harrington about a fact, Harrington is smarter than me right now. It makes me want to kill myself.
That is bad. I'll tell you what makes me want to kill myself. My wife having conversations with people at the front door with the podcast room doors wide open. Doors are now shut. Dogs are back. Jesus Christ, nearly lost it for a second. Edit that bit out. I'm just going to go beat my wife up.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal in this day and age. We all know this.
So you lost I bought a shit phone.
Hold on. Why are you going to have an iPhone 11, Lewis? Why are you going to be all la-di-da? Why are you going to be all fucking Lord of the Manor? This iPhone 10. It's great, you know.
Yeah, but you got it new, you cocksucker. And I've never had the newest version of any phone ever. And I was like, you know what? I'm an adult. I should actually have a nice phone. So let me go buy the newest version of this phone. And then it's been a whole nightmare since. So now I have this Android that I'm texting on. It's goddamn awful. I'm getting half the text messages. It's just very frustrating. So I'm trying to be, a little relaxed, not let it bother me too much, but it's just a little bit of pain in this. If you text me right now, it's particularly difficult for me to communicate.
Yeah, because you were saying to me earlier, as we were actually texting one another, going back and forth, I was in the gym working out and we were planning the show, and you said, if you don't get my text messages, or I'm not getting your text messages because my phone's acting weird. I'm like, what's he talking about? We're actually actively going back and forth as we speak. But I'm sorry to hear that, Lewis. When you lose a phone, it is one of the most annoying things and worrying things. It's just you get very anxious, as you said, not having a phone in your hand for 10 minutes. If I don't have my phone in my hand for 10 minutes, I'm like, where's my phone? What's going on? Check my emails, all that type of stuff. As I say, I am sorry that you had a stressful weekend there, Lewis. But me on the other side, I had a great weekend. I was back in the gym for the first time, did some bag work. That felt great. The knee held up nicely. I was in fucking agony afterwards, but that doesn't matter. I was able to have a good workout. Did some bag work, you know what I mean? I'm slowly on the road to recovery, so things are well. As you said at the start, lots of stuff to talk about. Big fights at the weekend. Anthony Joshua got all of his titles back. Alistair Overeem got a gruesome injury. We're going to go through that and through some of our top 5 UFC worst injuries and some other stuff. But where should we go?
Well, we were talking about just overall the experience with Uber, which sort of sucked. I ended up, after I turned the new phone on, I spoke to the driver, and he was like, yeah, phone's gone. Sorry. So that sucked. But wasn't Uber in the news a few days ago? What's going on with Uber? Uber and Lyft released their sexual assault stats or something. I didn't see the details on this story, but I figured we should maybe touch on this, considering the fact that I had such a horrible experience with Uber. I mean, I guess I can't compare it to the experience of all of these poor women that Uber had last year. I guess I'm lucky. I got out lucky.
Yeah, it is crazy because I was watching the news Friday morning and it came up. So hopefully, Harrington, you managed to pull up the actual stats. I don't remember them. But, excuse me. Yeah, apparently there's a crazy number of sexual assaults, the driver to the passengers. Apparently, some of them are the passengers actually to the drivers as well. And I just don't understand it. I mean, of course, there's some fucked up people out there. Look at this, more than 3,000 people sexually assaulted during Uber rides last year. The disturbing numbers released by the company on Thursday have many concerned about the safety of using Uber and other rideshare apps. I mean, it's fucking insane. I mean, if you are of the mind, if you are a rapist, okay, I'm just trying to put myself inside the mind of a rapist.
Can you not? I feel like you're talking directly to me. You're like, if you are a rapist.
Next time you rape someone, Lewis, no.
Don't do it in an Uber. There's a fucking paper trail.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, who the fuck in their right mind says, okay, I'm going to order an Uber from my phone, which has my email, my name, my bank details, everything, and then I'm going to sexually assault the person in there. I mean, I get it. People that rape people probably aren't the smartest people, but come on, that's dumb, even by Harrington standards.
I know, it's true. I mean, look, if you're going to do it, and obviously it is wrong. We are not sitting here and we are not condoning sexual assault by any means. We would never. No. Disclaimer. If you're listening to the show and you're a rapist, we don't even want you as a fan. If you purchase some merch and subscribe to the premium stuff.
Yeah. But I was going to say, if you go to iTunes and leave a 5-star review, okay, you tell your friends, you buy some merch, and you compete in the drinking game alongside, you post your pictures online, you follow us on Instagram, then all right, bygones be bygones and all
Forgive
that.
and forget.
Not doing any of that. Yeah,
fine. Right, if you tell 10 friends, all right? If you tell each one of your victims, as oh, Jesus.
Right, yeah. Edit that bit out.
But see, look, the reality is, if you're going to sexually assault, do it in a yellow cab. I think that's the whole point of this segment.
Oh God, Lewis, you're going to fucking hell. You are going to hell. That is not what we said. By the way, we're not trying to make light of sexual assault. It's absolutely disgusting. And I hope they'll burn in fucking hell anybody that does that. Certainly to women, children, anybody. Fucking, it's absolutely disgusting. But just the pure lunacy that you would do it in an Uber driver. It's just real. It's really fucking dumb. It's really stupid. I just don't understand it.
I notoriously have issues on car rides, and I've talked about this many times. It's because typically if I'm taking an Uber or a car, it's because I'm running just on time or late. I've decided, hey, this is the fastest way to get there. In New York City, public transportation is very good. So I'm already on edge. So if anything happens, if they fuck up at all, I flip out. And Uber and Lyft have keeping me honest because you can only flip out so much. You know, you got to keep that.
No, because now they got the cameras, they got everything. You can't do anything in this day and age. You got to be really, really careful. In the good old days, you could grab someone by the throat and you could make your point in a proper way. These days, you're fucked if you do anything like that. You're on a one-way ticket to a lawsuit, my friend. Trust me.
Yeah, you sound like you know. You sound like that you're speaking from experience in some way. Interesting.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's what sucks about getting famous as well. You can't do anything, dude. You can't just beat somebody up. Like if you were in a bar and somebody was talking shit, you'd be like, I'm gonna fucking give him a shot in the side of the head and just leave. It's fine. It's not a big deal. You're fucked.
This morning, I swear to God, I had a situation, and you're talking about Ubers. You get stressed there for some reason. Excuse me. I went to the gym this morning. Okay. Working out, and I'm doing shoulders, biceps, and abs like a tricep. You know what I mean?
Let me say real quick to interrupt you. I apologize. Somebody pointed it out. They said, I think it was on the YouTube comments. They said Mike's always working shoulders and triceps, and that's it. You work the fucking what do they call them? The
beach muscles.
Yeah, something like that. Go ahead, sorry.
I definitely skip leg day now and again. Let's be honest. No. So I'm waiting for the machine, the ab machine. You know, you put your arms on it and you lift your legs up. You can normally do pull-ups on them as well. Anyway, I've done one set. I've done my shoulder press. I've done my bicep curls. And now I'm going to do 20 knee raises, right? But there's a guy in the machine. Fair enough. There's a guy in the machine. It's a public gym. It is what it is. But the guy's on there. And literally he's on there for about half an hour. And he's not doing anything. Okay. I move on from that set. I go to another set. I'm 4 sets deep. The same guy is still on the machine, right? And he's not using it. Go ahead.
Why not just simply ask him, hey, can I work in?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Normally I would do that, but the guy looked a little grumpy and whatever. His whole vibe was a little standoffish. I'm like, oh, whatever. He doesn't, you know what I mean? He just didn't look like a nice guy. And anyway, after 30 minutes, I'm like, fuck this. So I walk over. I said, listen, hey, mate, do you mind if I just work in real fast? I said, and he said something. I didn't hear what he said. He said it under his breath. I said, I mean, you have been on it for half an hour, right? That's what I said. He goes, right. Oh, no need for the sarcastic remark, bud. Right. And I go, oh, yeah, whatever. And then he said something back. I said, oh, fuck off like that. And he goes, oh, don't swear at me, man. I said, oh, grow up, would you? Come on, man. Right. And then I walked off and he said something as I was walking off. And I'm like, I don't want to get sued again in a fucking gym. So I stay away. Right. And then the guy comes and works out right next to me. Right.
Passive aggressive. Yep.
Oh, my God. Staring right at me, working out. I finished my set, moved over to another side of the gym. He follows me, right? He goes on the machine right next to me, working out next to me again. I'm like,
I love this guy. This guy's a bad motherfucker. I'll tell you right now. He's right up your ass. He has no fear of you.
I'm like, don't say anything to this guy. So I get up and I go to another part of the fucking gym. What happens? Yes, you fucking guessed it. He comes over and he's working out right by me. And I'm like, oh my God. As you said, good old days, you could have had a little chat. You know what I mean? But it's bit my tongue. Went into the sauna, and I thought a little moment of zen. But I thought if he comes into the sauna, I'm going to record the conversation because this motherfucker's looking for trouble. If he comes in, I'm fucking recording the conversation because I don't want to get sued again. And I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm trying to avoid this guy. And I'm being bullied, Lewis. I was being persecuted and bullied. In fact, I'm going to file a fucking lawsuit, okay?
You should. I didn't know you were such a pussy. You were running away from this fucking dude in the gym. I thought I was hanging out with the #1 middleweight of the decade, but apparently Michael Bisping is just afraid of some gym rat.
I find it embarrassing.
I find it embarrassing, too. I agree with you, Shop.
5'6", I would say he was as well. The fucking little midgets following me around the fucking gym, barking at me. I'm like, oh my God, I just don't want to get a ban from another gym. Anaheim Hills, there's not a plethora of gyms, okay? It's slim pickings already. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, I got to behave in here. Anyway,
funny,
where were we?
Well, as you say that, it kind of reminded me. I completely forgot about this. I had a thing on the flight coming back. I didn't even. This is how often I get into stupid things with people that it doesn't even register. It's just a part of my living. Like having a little spat with somebody that might happen to most people twice a year, 3 times a year. It happens so often, and I know I'm the problem. I'll admit that I'm the fucking problem.
Everywhere I go, there's always an issue. There's always a story. There's always an issue. Do you know what I mean? And these days, I like to think it's not me. And I really, for the most part, believe that. But a lot of the time, it probably is.
It's not. We talked about this a couple times, but we have a very similar thing. It is the Curb Your Enthusiasm complex, where if we feel like we're justified even slightly, it can be the littlest, tiniest thing, and then we just start to pull on that thread. And then if the person doesn't act accordingly, because we're justified, we will just sort of blow it out of proportion. And then we go down a path of like, it could just be something dumb. Somebody can make a wrong turn, and then I make a comment, then they make a comment, and we could just shut up there. But because we feel justified, it'll just turn into something. So that's, I think, the difference between most people. They let things go much easier.
Yeah.
And I can't.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, and I'm kind of like this as well, and I know you're like this. No, I'm like this. You got to have the last say. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You got to have the last say. And then they say something else. And you say, all right, well, I just want to say, let's leave it on this. And then they'll say something. Say, well, no, I just want to say, you can go fuck yourself. Oh, well, you can go fuck yourself. No. You can go fuck yourself, okay? Because I was here first and I was right. And they're like, okay, whatever. I said, no, I just want you to know I was correct, or whatever it is. It's having the last say when there's no need for that. You know what I mean? I'm preaching to myself right here. There's no need for it. Just walk away, smile, laugh, chuckle. And I did, by the way. I chuckled. I was laughing at this guy at this point in the gym. When he was following me, I was like, wow, this guy's hilarious. I was because I wasn't threatened by the guy. We're not going to get into a fight. And he wasn't trying to fight me. He was just being a dickhead. Do you know what I mean? He was just following me around and scowling at me. And I was like, this fucking nerd, what is he doing? Come on, get a grip, get a life.
All right, Mike, let's take a quick second and talk about Sheath. I love Sheath. Not only they're awesome. They're real fans of the podcast. The guys that work at Sheath love the show. They send us messages all the time. So what I love working with actual companies that are fans of what we do. We're fans of what they do. They're fans of what we do. It's not bullshit. Okay, like we really love it. Mike Bisping, let me tell you something. I've never looked sexy in underwear in my entire life. I got big thighs. I got a flat ass. My dick just isn't that impressive. Sheath holds it all together. I'm telling you right now, I've never had more compliments in my life. I wear Sheath underwear. I walk around the apartment. I have a chick over. She's like, holy shit, you look like a god amongst men. I'm like, I know. Guess what? It's the Sheath underwear.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree with that. Listen, guys, we're trying to sell you quality underwear, okay? It will hold your penis in place. It will be comfortable. It's breathable. It's stylish. And a lot of UFC fighters are wearing them. Myself, Donald Cerrone included. But I don't know if it will turn Luis J. Gomez into a god amongst men. I'm sorry, Luis. I can't lie to the followers, to the listeners like this. Listen, if you want to be transformed into a god amongst men, listen, I will recommend Sheath underwear if you're looking for good quality underwear. But giving you a total makeover transformation, I don't know if it will do it.
I'm going to text you a picture of me in my Sheath underwear, and that's going to be my shirtless shot that we use, because I'm telling you right now, I look good. My dick has never looked good in underwear. Whatever it is when you see underwear models where their dicks look all great, that's not my dick. My dick is a little fucking tinker fucking pathetic thing. These underwear make my dick look great.
I will never, ever look at your penis and say that your dick looks good. I don't care what underwear you're wearing. There's not a galaxy or a parallel universe that exists where I will say, you know what, Luis, your dick looks really good today. But that said, if you want to wear some fantastic underwear, and by the way, when I come into New York next, we're doing the top off challenge in Sheath underwear. Oh, we almost got naked, baby. Stay tuned for that one. We know you're very excited for it. But yeah, if you want to buy some underwear, and I do recommend these, they're fantastic. They've got all different kinds of styles. Go to sheathunderwear.com. SHEATH, sheathunderwear.com. And you're right, Lewis, massive fans of the show. I speak to them regularly, always send them a message. Fantastic set of people. They really are. It's a fantastic team and they have fantastic products. So go to sheathunderwear.com, use the code BELIEVE30. You'll get 30% off, and they ship anywhere in the world. So everyone in the UK, you can take advantage as well. Sheathunderwear.com and use the code BELIEVE30. Okay, where were we?
So what happened was I was on my flight on my way home. And I was sitting next to a guy, and we're both, bigger guys, I'd say. He's not a small guy, but a taller guy.
No. Gigantic, 6'6", at least 300 pounds, right, Harrington? Oh, it definitely worked out. Did not skip leg day. Yes, did a lot of shoulders, but worked out a lot. And a real man as well. You can tell that this guy like hunted and stuff like that. Not a man you'd want to mess with, right, Lewis?
He wasn't 5'6". I wasn't fucking running away from a fucking midget in Anaheim Hills. Because I'm afraid that my knee's going to give out in the middle of a fight.
Listen, that highly suburban neighborhood is very fucking dangerous at the wrong time of day, okay?
Yeah.
Don't knock Anaheim Hills. Go ahead. You were saying.
So we were sitting, and it was a smaller plane because it's just Detroit to New York. So we were doing the thing where our elbows were both sort of on the same rest. But in that moment...
The war.
Yes.
The war starts, right? It's a war for who can have the armrest.
And the truth is, guess what? If it's two men... You both have the armrest. One goes behind, one goes in front, and it's as simple as that. You both get to have it a little bit, And it sucks. Obviously, you don't want your arm fucking touching another dude's arm the whole flight, but it is what it is. So he's doing this arm war thing, and he keeps on doing it. And I'm like, I say
the worst.
I'm like, buddy, I was like, what do you want to do here? We're both bigger guys. I was like, we're not. I was like, he was like, he just started talking shit in one way or another. And I was like, I had to say, I was like, what do you want to fucking do? I was like, I don't know what you want me to say. And I hit the buzzer, and I was like, miss, you got to move this fucking guy.
Hold on. You're giving him shit about me fucking getting bullied off a 5'6" guy. But you called the stewardess over to her. Smith, I need help. This man's bullying me and won't let me have 50% of the armrest. Can you come and help me and tell the bad man off?
My guy was huge, at least. At least my guy was a real man. My guy was at least 6'7". He's fucking...
So go on. When you called for backup to deal with this very minor situation, which could have just been dealt with a very, normal man-to-man conversation, what happened?
She comes over, and at this point, we're sort of arguing with each other. And then I guess it must have been the air marshal. There must have been an air marshal on the plane, because this guy leans over. He's like, guys, they're going to turn this plane around. We're not going to take off right now if you don't stop arguing. So, and I was like, I didn't even give a shit. I just saw red at that point. I was like, yeah, he's got to fucking go. I was kicking him out of his seat. By the way, this guy's wearing like a doctor scrubs. I'm just a Puerto Rican in a fucking hoodie. Like, I'm like being such a piece of shit right now. I'm like, he's just got to fucking go. I was like, I'm not going to sit next to this guy. It's going to be a fucking problem. So they ended up moving him. And before he's moving, he's looking at me, just staring at me. And I'm like, buddy, why are you fucking looking at me? Stop acting like you're tough, like you're staring me down, like you're going to actually do something. Just do something.
Lewis, I'm with this guy. He's sat down, he's minding his own business. He's a doctor. He's just saved multiple children, right, of life-threatening diseases that day. He's been working along.
And he must have, because he's in his scrubs. It's not like he must be traveling from hospital to hospital. He's truly saving people's lives.
Saving lives as he goes. His arm, he's been like fine motor skills of the surgery, like intricate. His arms are very tired, but he needs to rest them for the next surgery that's coming up, okay? And he's like, I just need to rest my arm. All of a sudden, some fucking asshole comes on, high as fuck. You're on, buddy. What the fuck? Starts giving him shit. All this guy did was look at you. That's all he did. In your words, you said he didn't say anything. He's looking at you. You call for backup. You call mummy. Mummy comes over. What do? They move him. He gets up. He agrees to move. And all he does is look at you. Look at you. And
he's staring at me down and smirking. He's he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
He was smiling at you.
Don't fucking smile at me.
It's like, it's okay. It's all good. One love, brother. You know what I mean? I'm going to go save some more children today. That's all he was doing. As he walked away with the grin, he was saying, much love, brother. We're all good. There's enough seats on here for everybody. And then he's over there with an arm on each armrest. He's like, look at this motherfucker. Who won in the end? I'm in first class, bitch. Go fuck yourself.
You're so right, by the way. I'm such a psycho. I'm angry that he did one of the most peaceful things you could do to another human being, which is show them a smile. It made me mad.
And you want to kill this guy. You want to find his address and go and hunt him down because the guy smiled at you whilst he left. Lewis, listen.
When you put it that way, it sounds like I'm crazy. Yes, you're right. But the reality was he was smirking. He knows what he was doing.
Isn't that the worst thing? Because sometimes I've had that. I can't think of a situation right now, but you know in your mind, and you know, and he knows that that guy was being a dickhead with you. But when you tell the story, it doesn't sound like it. But you're like, no. But he was being a dick. Trust me. The way he was smiling, what he was doing, he was trying to wind me up. He was trying to fuck with me. But then when you, like, if it was a trial at court, they'd be like, what are you talking about? The guy did nothing wrong. He got up and he smiled at you. That's all he did. He's like, yeah, but it's the way. It's the way that he smiled, okay? Motherfucker was fucking me with that smile, okay?
When I retell the story, I realize how wrong I am because I felt so justified. When I think about it, he literally got up and was like, hey, man, I got no problems with you. Have a good day.
Like,
I'm just not going to say anything.
He's like, I'm not going to waste any more time. I've got children to save, okay? I've got open heart surgery scheduled for 4 p.m. When this plane lands, I'm straight to the hospital, change my scrubs, disinfect my hands, give me the scalpel, let's fucking go. You know, all you got to do is go get high and look for a phone.
He's like, sir,
take a minute.
I'm not going to risk these hands on fighting you, sir. So please have at it. Hit me all you want. I'm just going to stand here and smile.
Yeah.
That's a goddamn saint. That man is an angel, and I feel bad now. So if you're listening, doctor, whatever your name is, if you know a doctor who was on a flight from Detroit to New York on Sunday and he told you about some fucking asshole that he smiled at and he tried to defuse the situation, please call in, shoot us an email. I would love to get the doctor to call into the show and we can get his perspective on what happened.
Oh God, I would pay money to have that conversation with that guy. But I'll be honest, I can't judge you. I have many issues like that myself. I'm trying to be a better person these days, trying to learn, trying to control my temper. I do a better job these days. I really do. But we were going to talk about this. We went off on a tangent there, but we were going to talk about the Ubering. You lost your phone. Then we talked, you lost your phone in an Uber, and then the Uber, the segue was to the sexual assaults. And then we were going to segue once more. And when we even discussed this in the notes, you were like, wow, what a segue, Michael. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I have the trophy. I have the trophy for best podcast segue in podcasting history.
What is more important to you, though, being the #1 middleweight of the decade or being the best segue host in podcasting? Because those are both pretty esteemed accolades.
Pretty lofty targets to achieve, to aspire to. I've achieved them both, but for me, the segues. But you just fucked up my segue. You interrupted and fucked up my segue.
This is why I have no awards.
From the sexual assault in Ubers to in India last week, some guys raped some kids or something like that. What happened? I did see the news on the story on the news, pardon me, and the police took him under a bridge and shot him dead. Do you have the actual facts on this? Anybody?
Maybe, possibly. So yeah, India police kill 4 rape suspects already in custody. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know if that's necessarily the way to do it. You have to give people their due process to a certain degree. There are things that happen out there where it's like mistakes are made. I don't think you should just let people be murdered after being accused. I do believe in the justice system we have to a certain degree. I think for the most part, bad people get put behind jails and criminals get put behind jails, and
Yeah.
But
for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw that story initially, there was a little part of me that said, "Good, good." Right. But then, and I think that's most people's honest, normal reaction. If there's some people out there that are raping children or women or whatever, right? If you're that type of person, then honestly, certainly a pedophile, however you want to say it, there's no place for you in modern society, right? In my humble opinion. And when I heard that they'd gone down there and shot them, I was like, well, that's what everybody would like to do. But then immediately after saying that to my wife, I said, yeah, but hold on a minute. What if forensics come out? The DNA evidence proves that it wasn't them. And that's why you can't take that kind of action. Do you know what I'm saying? We still don't know whether the actual perpetrators have been caught. See, here we go. Because we do not know whether the police are incompetent enough to let suspects escape. Should be trusted to solve the case.
Okay, so I guess the suspects. So I guess the suspects escaped. Then they caught them and then shot them in the bridge. Is that what happened?
No. So actually, what they said was they brought them out to retrace the steps and show them where they had buried the woman's cell phone that they gang raped and set on fire.
Oh my God! They set her cell phone on fire.
So they brought him out.
Sorry, I'm a little sensitive right now to losing your cell phone. I apologize.
Lewis.
What?
You are pushing the boundaries on this episode. You're making light of People that have lost cell phones, right? You're not wearing screen protectors on your phone. You're not backing up your iPhone. I mean, people are going to go crazy. A lot of people are going to cancel their subscription after this episode.
We're going to get letters after this one. Anybody out there that's ever lost their phone is going to be triggered. I really believe that.
Go on, Harrington, you were saying.
So apparently the police said they were leading them, to like show them where the evidence was. They were not handcuffed at the time, and the men tried to overpower the officers, at which point the officers had no choice but to shoot them.
Oh. So yeah, it's all messy and weird. Obviously.
Hold on. Stop. Do you believe that story? The cops took them down there, and then they tried to overpower us, and we had no choice but to shoot them. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a good story. It's a good story, and if that is what happened, then fair play. They had no choice. But it sounds a little fishy to me.
It's a little fishy. The whole thing's a little fishy. I don't know. I mean, I've never been to India. I hear that like crime is like pretty crazy there. And I think you're right. I think when people hear this right here, you say, oh yeah, a rapist was shot and killed. Like, okay, cool. I get that. And I stand by that. But it's like, yes, if it's specifically a person who's actually, I'm talking more about the actual process of, bringing somebody to trial. Also, the fact is like, there's always some sort of like question of foul play, and there's some question of like, what evidence there is. It's a little bit weird that they shot and killed 4 guys. They actually got to that place.
Yeah, because I mean, you can only imagine how harrowing that scene must have been if what Harrington just said is true and it played out like that. So they take the police down to the scene where this terrible crime happened, and then Jesus Christ, they burn her alive. And if they're showing this to the police, I mean, you never know. Maybe they did get emotional and said, you know what, you don't deserve to die, motherfucker. And hold on a minute, if they are showing them where the crime happened, then basically they've admitted it, right?
Right.
Obviously, they're admitting the crime, and then I think the police might have taken that into their own hands. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, it was a stupid segue idea. We don't want to break down rapes. We're here to break down fights predominantly, and we're going to do that now. We're going to move away from the rape talk, okay? Last time people were saying there was too much religion talk. This time, it's a little rapey. Okay, let's back off from the rapey talk. All right. It's a very rape-centric episode.
So, all right, you're right. Let's switch gears. Let's talk. All right, Rozenstruik. I mean, there's no other way to describe it except he really raped Alistair Overeem's lip at the end of the 5th round of their fight this week.
Well, I'm not surprised because his lip did resemble a vagina after it was all said and done. If ever there was a lip that needed raping, it's that one. We'll get into that one now. We'll get into that one later. Let's just quickly touch on Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. I know you didn't see the fight.
No, was it a good fight? I don't think people were wholly impressed with Ruiz's performance. But yeah, break it down a little bit.
Yeah, so Andy Ruiz, remember I said prior to the fight, I said, it looks like he'd put weight on, looks like he's been living the rock star lifestyle, driving around in cars, enjoying himself. Listen, rightly so. He became the world champion. He shocked the world, got paid a few $1 million, and he's living the dream, so good for him. But at some point you have to turn that off, and as I said, yeah, but maybe he's doing that. Maybe the few Instagram posts or whatever I see don't portray his lifestyle. But he weighed in at 283 pounds, which is 18 pounds heavier than he weighed in for the first fight. Now he said, listen, I just had breakfast or I had lunch or whatever. I was fully clothed. Therefore, that's where the 18 pounds came from. Now, during the fight, it was kind of, Ruiz didn't really do much. He didn't do much. Joshua, on the flip side, was very active. He used a lot of footwork. He was very elusive, fought mainly behind his jab. Anthony Joshua's jab was a thing of beauty. It really was. He was pumping that jab out in his face. He threw one right hand in the first round, I think it was. Cut him with the very first punch that landed. The big right hand, cut him wide open. But even Anthony Joshua was being criticized as well, saying that the performance was too safe. Kevin Ioli from Yahoo Sports, big fan of this podcast, shout out Kevin. I saw an article that he wrote saying that he's not going to win over the mainstream fans with a performance like that. Andy Ruiz came out afterwards. He apologized. He said, listen, I'm sorry. I didn't train as hard as I could have done. He apologized to his coaches. He apologized to the fans. And I know that Kevin and a bunch of other people aren't buying that. They're saying that's bullshit. How dare you disrespect the boxing fans, the buying public? You got to remember, people fly You know, a lot of people would have flown to Saudi Arabia. A lot of people buy tickets, spend a lot of money to support this man, and then he can't even have the decency to train. So that's where the criticism comes in for Andy Ruiz there, and I get it. I agree with that. You know, now they're saying they're going to do a third one. Apparently, that's not going to happen. But he said, if I do a third one, if I get another chance, I'll train really hard for it. I mean, that's a bit of a cop out. Going back to what I said about Anthony Joshua, Kevin earlier was saying, you know, he's not going to win the hearts and minds, and I understand why Kevin would say that, and it to a certain degree is correct. But from a fighter's perspective, you know, when you've lost everything, you know, because he had 3 belts, I think, on the line, and then Ruiz beat him, took all the belts off him, right? Is a chance, you know, if he'd have got beaten again. Are you okay there, Lewis?
Sorry about that. A little bit of whatever it was in my throat.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Had Joshua got beaten again, that'd be his career over. Do you know what I mean? Pretty much his career over. Now, we could have made it bad, but we've seen time and time again in boxing. It's not like MMA. 2 bad losses, 2 knockouts in a row like that. You know, they tend to retire and walk away. So there was a lot on the line for Anthony Joshua, and he played it safe. He played it cautiously. You know, and maybe it wasn't a performance that the world is going to remember for the rest of their time. It wasn't a classic, you know, but the reality is he got the job done. I think he won 10 out of 12 rounds. He boxed him well. And as Joshua said on the microphone himself, boxing is about hitting and not getting hit. And he did fantastic in that respect. And it was up to Ruiz to turn it into a brawl. He kind of turned the pressure on a little bit as the fight was dragging on. But listen, Joshua got the job done. He got the job done. I thought he looked great. He showed a lot of good skill, excellent footwork, good jab, a lot of skill on display. Job well done, in my opinion. So well done to Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about, you know, a fighter not coming in shape, just not being prepared. It's sort of, it puts a little bit of a sting. If he wins, then fine, right? But if he loses, as a fan, you go like, all right, dude, all you had to do was be prepared. That's your job. You have to be prepared. And I feel like to not be prepared, you know, he's just not doing the job. And you know, as fight fans, we pay a lot of money for these fights. I would feel ripped off if I'm, and especially with a boxing event where it's like boxing, this is what the UFC has done beautifully, is they haven't heavily depended on main events ever. There's been a few cards where they have, and it's bitten them in the ass a couple times where they've had the main event fall apart. But they've always said, well, you know what, no matter what, we have 5 main card fights. Even if it's guys you haven't heard of, it's going to be fireworks. It's more than likely it's a game of numbers. Most fights are pretty fucking exciting in MMA. So when you have a main event where the entire card is built around that, and then one guy comes in out of shape and then loses, has a lackluster performance, you feel a little ripped off. You're like, all right, dude, well, fuck you. Why would you take my money if you weren't ready to come in?
You're absolutely right, and I completely agree. And typically in boxing, you are right. You are correct. But on this occasion, on this one occasion, there was actually a pretty good card.
Oh, really?
Dillian White was there against Alexander Povetkin, who Joshua beat. Yeah, and then there was a fight added last minute. There was a beautiful first round knockout. It was a pretty solid card, it was. But generally, what you said does apply, Lewis. It really does. But listen, Joshua got the job done. Well done to him, and commiserations to Ruiz. But as a fighter, and you just said it yourself perfectly, that's your job. You have one job. You can't guarantee if you're going to win. You can't guarantee you're going to lose. You can't guarantee whether you're going to win or lose. I hear some music there. That's really good.
That's my ringer. I apologize.
No, you're good. Those shitty Android phones, Lewis.
It's making me so angry.
Can you not even put it on silent? Yeah. Does it have a silent function on it?
I don't even know how. I don't. Dude, this morning I was
click it. Oh, here's my guess. On the side, there's a little thing. You can click it and it'll go silent.
Yep. There you go.
Is there? There we go.
You know what? Same as the iPhone. Just turns out it's a button you got to press.
Yeah, you know, it's not hard, buddy. Take a look. No, as a fighter, that's, you know, you can't guarantee you're going to win or lose, but you can get in shape. And that is your responsibility. You know what I mean? That is, you turn up in shape on weight. They're the 2 obligations that you have. And if you don't do that, then you don't deserve the moniker of being a professional fighter. Right. That's why it pisses me off. You know, in a lot of MMA now, you see a lot of people not making weight. I mean, at the weekend, the co-main event, Cynthia Calvillo came in 5 pounds overweight, Lewis. 5 pounds. And I know this happens a lot with women, and I'm kind of going off on a tangent here and changing the subject. But with women, they miss weight a lot. And the reason or the excuse that they use is because women have their monthly cycles and that causes them to put on water and things like that. But some women that I've spoken to, they disagree with that. They say, no, that's bullshit. And at the end of the day, you know, you are living up to your expectations as a professional. If you can't fucking make weight.
Well, women and just in general, and I don't think you have to understand anything about the fight game even to understand this. Women in general, it's harder for them to lose weight. If you've ever tried to like have a weight loss challenge in an office with other coworkers, the women they should get a handicap. But men can put on weight and lose weight very quickly. I don't know why. I'm sure there's some physiological reason why. But if I do a keto thing, if I just did keto for a month, I would just naturally drop 30 pounds. There's no debate about it. And I think a woman is just much slower for the weight to come off. I know that when I've done it with like ex-girlfriends and. Yeah,
it's weird. I mean, like I've been on it, Rebecca, relentlessly, and she hasn't lost any weight. I know, you're absolutely right. For some reason, they just don't lose weight.
Rebecca's beautiful. You don't deserve her. She's so much hotter than you.
I know. Look at me. I'm a disgusting white fucking puffy faced pig. I know. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. I'm joking. That's why I can say it, because I am kidding. So anyway, so Joshua got his belt back. Very, very happy. Did the UK proud. And Ruiz, to be honest, needs to have a long look in the mirror. He does. He needs to get his shit together. All right. MMA. Mixed martial arts, UFC at the weekend. How should we start? You mentioned the lip. Let's start with that, shall we? Should we talk about Rozenstruik? I
think that's the biggest story of the weekend was the main event. Alistair Overeem against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. They were saying Struik.
Strike. They were saying strike. Rozenstruik.
Okay. Potato.
Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Nice guy, by the way. Nice guy. I messaged him after the fight. I've already prepped him. Want to come on BYM. Wait for a response. But for the most part, it's really frustrating for Alistair Overeem because he was winning that fight.
Handily.
He was 4 seconds away from winning that fight. First round, second round, kind of tentative, not too much action, but Overeem, got a couple of good takedowns. Like that analyst on here last week correctly predicted that he would go in there and take him down. Whoever that guy was, real smart guy, British accent, knows what he's talking about, that guy. He took him down, and Rozenstruik, I like Struik. I'm just going to say Rozenstruik. Rozenstruik looked kind of like a fish out of water on the floor. Didn't really know what he's doing. Of course, he never got submitted, though. And I think he did get back to his feet once or twice, so I should give him more credit. He didn't look too particularly jiu-jitsu savvy, though, in my opinion, which is fair enough. He's a big, heavy-handed heavyweight. He gets the job done knocking people out. He's a former kickboxer, a very decorated kickboxer, so it goes without saying he's probably not going to have the best ground game. But yeah, Overeem was winning that fight. Rounds 4, Rozenstruik took over, landed a lot of good combinations against the fence. Overeem, I'll tell you this about Overeem, because he got knocked out a few times in his career recently. He's got a chin, because we've seen Rozenstruik knock people out with one punch many, many times. He took strong combinations and many hits in round 4. Same in round 5. Okay, he unloaded multiple times against the fence, long combinations. He'd work the body, he'd come upstairs. Rozenstruik throwing flying knees as well, which is impressive for such a big man. But that said, it was 4 minutes 56 on the clock, and then Overeem just kind of stepped off the gas and backed up a little bit, and Rozenstruik went forward and just boom through this right hand.
He was throwing it throughout the fight, and he was. The difference was, honestly, Overeem just looked like a complete mixed martial artist. He was just mixing it up a lot, and he kept him guessing. And, you're reminded how good Overeem is. Overeem's he's been so good for so long, you're expecting him to sort of fall off at one point and just kind of be a punching bag. And when you look at his record, I think with those knockouts, it maybe seems that way. But then you look at him, and he looks great. He looks as good as he's ever looked. What a shame. I mean, it's just, he's got to be playing that 1 second over and over again. I said, he got to watch that back and go, dude, I could have simply just backed off and easily won that fight. And mistakes like that. This is why mixed martial arts is such an exciting sport, because boom, you blink, and then all of a sudden, look at this. Like, ooh, holy shit. Dude, I can't look at the lip.
Got hit there, you see the lip split straight away. It's so fucking bad. And you're absolutely right. We've got to give Overeem his credit, which you just did, and I completely agree. Overeem been around forever, many, many fights, many legendary fights against excellent competition throughout his entire career, and still around to this day. Still around, fighting at this level. Excuse me. But as you say, one punch changes everything. Now, let's talk about the finish. What do you think about the finish? Because he punches him, And by the way, referee Dan Mergliata, I love Dan Mergliata. He's a great guy. I think he's a very, very good referee. And they do a very hard job. They have to make split-second calls in a tough situation. But Overeem wasn't knocked out. Rozenstruik hits him, puts him down, smashes his lip wide open, and then thinks it's a walk-off knockout, right? Turns around and just walks away. But Overeem gets up, and then walks on opposite direction, walks away from Rozenstruik. But even still, he's still on his feet. He wasn't knocked out. And then Mergliata waves the fight off. It was very unusual. Very, very unusual.
Let me see if we can see that. And we're going to obviously, we won't be able to play this in the version that goes out on YouTube. We'll put it in an image, but I'd like to see it because I didn't look at it like that. It was just such a devastating punch that I was just like, holy shit, fight's over. When you see a nasty injury like that, I don't know. Here's the thing. Would they have called the fight in between rounds if it was in between the 4th and 5th with that type of lip injury?
Maybe, but it wasn't. Round.
You're right. You're 100% right.
It was the 5th round, so it's completely, that doesn't matter. It's inconsequential. So, but
it reminds me of.
He wasn't out. Go on.
Well, it almost reminds me, has shades of the Anderson Silva performance with you, where he started celebrating after it was like, no, you were still there. You weren't knocked out. The referee didn't stop it. So are you saying essentially that Overeem won that fight because the referee should have never even stepped in and stopped it, that Rozenstruik essentially guided the referee into believing that it was a knockout?
No, I'm not saying that because, the referee's decision is final and the fight was waved off and that's just the way it is. So I'm not disrespecting Rozenstruik or Dan Mergliata by saying that. The record stands. Rozenstruik won that fight. Simple as that. What I'm saying is that if I was Overeem, he's got grounds to be a little pissed off, a little bit annoyed, possibly, and I'm not a fan of doing this, the appeals, but he's certainly got a potential grounds there for a real appeal. You know what I mean? Sometimes you see people trying to have a decision overturned, for whatever reason. I can't think of one right now, but it happens now and again. And I always think you're just onto a losing battle there. You're wasting everybody's fucking time. They're never going to do that. But in this occasion, I don't know, because he wasn't knocked out. He was not out, and he got back to his feet. He got back to his fucking feet, and
he was very shaky. I remember he was when he got to his feet, though. If you remember when he started going to his corner, he was wobbly.
Yeah. No, he was definitely. But he got back up. Got back up. And like fucking Rocky Balboa said, it's not about how hard you can hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep on fucking going, Adrian.
Are you doing the impression of Overeem because of his lip? Is that what you were doing?
That's how Overeem's talking right now. Jesus Christ, poor fucking guy. Let's bring that image up there for the YouTubers. Let's have a look. Let's take a look at that lip.
Make a statement here. Yeah, I mean, even if
this is the final moment.
This is the finish.
To watch it again.
Yeah, so watch this. Ooh. Oh! Look, he's up.
Yeah, he was out. He was just out. My thing is, had he followed it up, he would have taken a lot more damage. The fight was going to be over there. I understand why Mergliata even stepped in, because he did step in, right? He waved it off. He fell and he stepped in.
He kind of half-heartedly went in, and then when Rozenstruik walked away, he didn't feel the need to do the big dramatic wave straight away because Rozenstruik, watching that again and breaking it down, I think when Rozenstruik walked away, that was kind of signaling the fight's over. And then when Overeem got back up, he's like, fuck, shit, he thinks his fight's still going on. So it was, no. Yep, I've got no problem with that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it was when Overeem got it, he was so wobbly. Had Rozenstruik followed him down, he could have. He was winning that fight no matter what. Interesting though, I understand that the argument there is still there. The rules are still the rules. So essentially, if he's defending himself, he just looked really out. Like his eyes looked like they rolled. His hands were down in his side. He went up against the cage. He wasn't essentially defending himself in that moment. Had he punched him again, his fucking head would have got knocked off.
Yeah, but as I said, in the words of fucking Rocky Balboa, it's not how hard you can get hit, it's how hard you can get hit and get back up. He did get back to his feet.
Can you say that line as Overeem, though? No, say it as Overeem.
I tell you what, Rashad Evans is a good Overeem. Holy shit, look at that lip. Do you know what's disgusting about that lip? Is that if you look at it, you can actually see his teeth because he's smiling, so it's separated. You can see his teeth through the lip. Look at that. Oh, my God, the poor guy. Poor guy, that's a bad injury.
That makes me not ever want to fucking be punched in the face ever again. And I know, look, it's a heavyweight with crazy knockout power, but It's not that crazy. Guys at street fights get punched in the face and their tooth comes through their lip. Shit like that happens all the time. You just got to get hit in the right spot with the right amount of power. That is horrifying. How is he smiling? I would be fucking freaking out. I would be crying in the center of the octagon.
Well, people always ask me this about fights. They go, does it hurt? And I say, well, no, not at the time. It's funny, you know, the only things that hurt are leg kicks and body shots. Punches to the head, you don't really feel them, but a good body shot, you can't get around that. And a solid leg kick, like a real hard fucking leg kick, you're like, oh, you son of a bitch. Those hurt as well. But because of the adrenaline, you don't really feel that. Go ahead, I see you with your hand up.
I was going to ask you the single hardest shot you remember in your professional career. So if you could the single hardest, most physical pain in the moment of the fight, right? In the actual moment that you remember your entire career, because there's an answer here. Even if adrenaline kicked in, there is an answer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, the hardest shot I ever took was when Dan Henderson knocked me into fucking, you know, put me in a time machine and sent me forward 3 months or whatever.
Yeah, but you didn't feel that.
I didn't feel shit, so it was great. I didn't feel a goddamn thing. I'm like, no, he's a pussy, man. No. There's been a few. I remember when I fought Akiyama. I fought Akiyama in London, UFC 120. The O2 Arena, Sexy Yama. And we go out, you know, the start of a fight, you know, you go to the middle and you're just having that little thing and he just goes, bang, right hand and fuck me. Right? Normally when you get hit off a good one, there's a clap, you see a white flash, and then you don't know where the fuck you are, right? And then he hit me, and then I had the white flash, and then ding, the ringing in the ears, and then I'm like, where the fuck am I? Where am I? And then you kind of look around, and you're like, oh, I'm in the octagon. Whoa, shit, I'm in a fight. And then you just like, you get on your back and and when I've watched that back, and like it happens in many fights, of course, when you watch it back for the viewer, they have no idea. They have no idea how hurt you are. But as I say, bang, you get cracked, you see the white flash, and then you can't see anything, and you're like, wow. And then you dance about, you give it your little poker face, shake it off, and then you're like, oh fuck, all right, let's get back into it. You know what I mean?
You give a little, a little smile, be like, didn't hurt at all. Yeah. You do that whole thing.
That's it.
That all you got?
You're like, oh. Yeah, you're like, shit, please, just give me a second. Somebody step in.
There it is.
Punch. Thanks, Harrington. Hey, Harrington, the man that can't do anything on time. But the one occasion where we get to fucking pull up a picture of me getting smacked in the face. Oh, he's got his finger on the trigger on that occasion.
It's a screensaver. That's what it was.
I bet it is, the son of a bitch. Anyway, so we had the idea looking at Alistair Overeem. And by the way, I think it's fair that we say this. We got to give Rozenstruik his credit. Fair play. Congratulations, because whichever way you want to slice it, he went in there against Alistair Overeem, a decorated champion from different organizations. Tough fight, big step up in competition in mixed martial arts, and he won. He got the job done. He got a sensational stoppage, and he caused a disgusting, gruesome injury. So well done to Jairzinho, which gave us the idea, though, got us thinking about the worst injuries in UFC history, you know, because there's been a lot of them over the years. So we thought we'd compile a little list of our top 5, and hopefully we've got some pictures to go along with it so the viewers can see. But Lewis, give us your list, baby boy. Give us your top 5 UFC injuries.
Do you want to just go one for one? I think that's what we should do it, right?
If Harrington can keep up,
I think he can
then
keep
let's
up.
do that.
All right, so here we go. Our list of top 5. Well, it's mixed martial arts. I didn't do just UFC. I have a couple on here that are not just UFC.
Okay, that's fine. Bearing in mind, remember, I only had 4 on my list because I'm a very busy man. Take a shot. I'm a very busy man. I've only taken 4, and Harrington was going to do the 5th. So Harrington can do my first one. Harrington, over to you, buddy.
Harrington, you can do the first one.
What's my 5th pick for worst injuries?
I'm going to go with Matt Mitrione's hematoma. Give me 1 second to pull that up.
I remember that. It was quite disgusting. It was a big hematoma on the side of the head. I'm not sure who did that. Was it Travis Brown?
I just feel like hematomas aren't, there's nothing gruesome. It's a bump, dummy.
Yeah, I know. Harrington, it's the worst thing. He's got a swollen eye. Ooh. Jesus Christ. Ooh, I mean, look at him. He's bumped his head. Bless him. No blood. You know, UFC fighter fights in Bellator now. I mean, to be fair, it's my fault. I only came up with a 4 list. It's my fault. It's my fault. I concede that one. Luis,
I can rattle off 5 off the top of my head that are more brutal than a bump. You know, in the cartoons where they would be like, "Would you like 1 lump or 2?" And then they'd hit him in the head with a little hammer, and then the bump would come up. That's it. That's as gruesome as it was. It was a cartoon injury, Harrington. Thank you.
Yeah. In fact, I take it back. We won't go 1 for 1. You give me your list. You go through your top 5, then I'll do my top 4.
Okay, good. All right. So coming in at number 5 is the Stefan Struve broken jaw by Mark Hunt. You remember, it wasn't even the shot was fucking ridiculous, but when you look at the X-ray afterwards, there's just something so painful about looking at a crack in his bottom mandible, whatever the bottom part of his jaw is split in half from Mark Hunt punching him in the face. There's no way around that. That seems like it's going to be brutal.
Oh, no. That looks disgusting. Just bring that image back on for a second, though, because I want to ask a question. Has Stefan Struve also got 1 eye like me? I mean, what's going on? He's got 1 white eye and 1 black eye. Is this my X-ray? How did you get hold of my medical records, Harrington? Anyway, go on. So number 4, good one. Carry on.
Number 4 is Robbie Lawler's split lip at the hands of Rory McDonald. He ended up winning the fight too, which was also just a fucking badass, But yeah, I'm sure we get a better image than that. That's not very good.
Yeah, it's a terrible image. One from the side, on from like that. That looks like somebody's iPhone 7 from the crowd. But I'm glad you brought that one up because a lot of people were making the comparison between Overeem's lip and Robbie Lawler's lip, and looking at that bad picture from 300 yards away. Overeem's definitely looked terrible, but a good injury nonetheless. Luis, carry on. You're on a roll.
Okay. Next up is going to be James Thompson versus Kimbo Slice, where his ear exploded. Now, look, I know there's a better ear explosion. Was it Liz Carmouche whose ear exploded in the UFC years later? I believe it was. And I know that one was technically a better, like you see like a real big squirting of blood. But this was, I believe, one of the first TV deals ever in mixed martial arts. Look at this. His ear was falling off his head. Kimbo, who I've always just liked Kimbo. People that hate on Kimbo, I don't think they get it. I have so much respect for a guy who like comes in and was able to compete with real mixed martial artists, being a backyard brawler. That's so incredible. I thought this was Michael Bisping for 2 years of my life. I thought James Thompson and Michael Bisping were the same person.
I'm just laughing at James Thompson because I know James is a great guy, and I'm just looking at the fucking pure shock and confusion on his face there, and then he's trying to fight the referee as well. It's like, dude, you're definitely out of it. You're fucking swinging punches at the referee. Okay, so number 3, that's a good one.
But yeah, I like that one because it was a big TV deal. Elite XC. It was, I think at the time, there was like 6 million people that watched that fight. It was crazy how people were into Kimbo Slice. So much so that the UFC offered him a contract with the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, that what a story. One of the most like rags to riches story in mixed martial arts. And I was impressed with his performances in the house and afterwards.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And by all accounts, unfortunately, I never got the chance to meet him, and rest in peace, Kimbo Slice. But apparently, an absolute gent of a man, obviously a beast in a fight, whether it be a brawl, octagon, CBS, whatever, Elite XC, whatever it was, he always brought a lot of passion and energy to the fights. And as I say, rest in peace. God rest his soul. Next one was Joe Stevenson getting absolutely brutalized by BJ Penn. Now, look, it was a bloodbath, okay? Now, it's not like it's just one particular gash that you can even see, really. I know it's on his head. He has a huge gash. But really, the moment of the fight, it was the first act of cannibalism in the UFC because after BJ Penn beat him to a fucking bloody pulp, he climbed up on the octagon and started licking Joe Stevenson's blood off of his gloves. And because of that, BJ Penn is a legend. He can do no wrong. There's not a badder man on the planet. If you are willing to lick the blood of your opponent after you beat him to a pulp, I'm telling you right now, that's hard fucking core. BJ Penn is the baddest man on the planet, and he should have the BMF title just for that reason alone. Oh, yeah, definitely. BJ is an absolute animal for sure. I was there. I was at that fight, UFC 80 in Newcastle, England. I was there. I've got some funny stories to tell about the after party, but they'll have to be told off air. But that was really sad as well because Joe Stevenson, I think he had some kind of alliance or connection to BJ Penn, and I was a huge fan of his as well. And I think in that fight, towards the end, when he was getting beaten up, he was crying. If I'm remembering this correctly, he was upset or something like that, and he was actually crying whilst getting ground and pounded. So yeah. Is that your top list? Is that it? You got one more?
That was number 2. And last but not least, it's not even one particular fight, but it's just one particular injury, and that is Michael Bisping's eye, which we have right here. The moment that he removes it,
bang.
I mean, who does that? No, there's no other fighter in the world that has pulled out their eye. On the show. So that's my number 1 injury of all time.
So listen, as we did this, excuse me, I can't speak today. Cannot speak. Slow it down, baby boy. As I said, let's do this list. I was fully expecting some kind of dig at me in there, but I would have thought that you would have, held my injury in a higher regard than to mock me like that. Then just bring it up for you and Harrington and Brian. You're all having a good little laugh. You put in your little speech bubbles either side. Bang. You know what I mean? I feel mocked. I feel betrayed right now.
That was somebody else. That was some other blogger that did that for you. We just pulled up the video.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but yeah, that's my list, and there's many other honorable mentions. But please, without further ado, Mr. Michael Bisping, your top 4 list.
Yeah, okay, top 4. I agree with you, top 5. But Harrington, which way are you starting? Who've we got the first? I don't know which one we have. Which way round are you starting?
Well, I'll just take it. I'll take it from right here. Just a few months ago, Vicente Luque did this.
Why is Harrington reading your list? It's making me furious. He's like your fucking slave.
Yeah. Well, hold on. You're not supposed to read my list. I asked you, which way are you starting? Where are you starting? You start at Mike Perry or you're starting at the other end? You know what I mean? And that's not even the list I said. Mike Perry is on there. Correct. I'm looking at it right now. He's in the middle. Do you want to see my list? Look, there it is. Mike Perry's in the middle.
Ooh, you're fucking mocking me with that iPhone, you piece of shit. I know why you did that.
Right. All right. Well, we'll start with that one. Mike Perry. I mean, that was recently at UFC Uruguay. I mean, people's noses get broken in mixed martial arts, but that one takes the absolute cake. The poor guy. And now when you see Mike Perry, his nose looks good. UFC looked after him, sent him off to a good plastic surgeon, got it all fixed. But come on, man. Mike Perry, absolute animal. And we're still pushing forward in that fight as well. For that alone, he will always have my respect.
I broke my nose when I was younger. I fell on some stairs. I can do this now. Have you ever seen me do this, Mike? Look, ready?
Hold on. Oh, no, shit. I didn't have a nose job. I had a corrective procedure at the start of the year. I nearly fucked mine up, but I used to be able to do something, but not as loud as that, Lewis. Yeah. That's disgusting.
Let's see.
Hold on.
But I'm just kidding. I'm doing this with my teeth. I don't want you to actually start popping your fucking body parts out.
Are you just doing that with your teeth?
Yeah, I'll do that. So I learned it when I was in the 4th grade. Oh
my God, you son of a bitch. I love it. I'm going to do that to Lucas after school. I can't wait. Okay, next one. Who we got, Harrington? Because I've sent Harrington my list. I don't know which way round he's doing this because Mike Perry was in the middle. But go on, Harrington. Who we got next?
You want to work up from there and then end? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Next one up, Marvin Eastman.
Oh, there we go. Marvin Eastman versus Vitor Belfort back in the day. I forget which UFC that was, but look at that. That was done with a flying knee. I remember at the time thinking, holy shit. I mean, of course, I'm not a fan of Vitor Belfort, but, credit where credit's due. Beautiful flying knee, and that is just an absolutely disgusting gash.
Yeah, that is pretty goddamn brutal. I remember that one as well. You can see his skull a little bit. That is should be on a list, not a hematoma, Harrington.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So there you go, Marvin Eastman. Next one, Anderson Silva. Oh. Harrington, what the fuck? Right. For the sake of this, it should have been Anderson Silva, Marvin Eastman versus Mike Perry, and then something else afterwards. Okay, but he starts with Mike Perry, then goes to Marvin Eastman, and then down to the bottom again. You're doing it in a very bizarre way, Harrington, but let's just roll with what we see right here, which is Anderson Silva breaking his leg against Chris Weidman, which was just disgusting. Remember that? Obviously, the first fight, Weidman knocked him out because Anderson was messing around and acting the goal. And then they had the rematch. I was actually there. It was Vegas. I was front row. I was sitting right there. And when you heard the snap, I'm telling you, it was like, just like if you got a big, piece of wood, a branch, and snapped it. That's how loud it was. It echoed around the entire arena. It was disgusting. And then they stretchered him past me, and I was there with a friend of mine, and I actually really felt for Anderson because he was on the stretcher and he was howling in agony, and the noise that he was making, it was haunting, man. I'll never forget it. And he was in so much pain. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty bad. We've seen that happen a few times in MMA, but that was a bad one, Lewis.
The highest profile, also, whatever it was, the angle they had on it. I was watching it. I watched it at the Stand Comedy Club. I convinced them to just order it on the TV, and a bunch of comedians were watching it, and it happened. I remember everyone screamed so loud in horror, like in the bar, like that it interrupted the show downstairs. People thought there was like an attack or something, because it was like everyone was like, just like, oh my God, they let out like a holy fuck, like gasp of horror, and then silence. Like people were like, it was a horror movie. It was the scariest thing. And I literally forgot about this injury. It would have definitely been on my list because in my opinion, that's probably the worst injury in UFC history. That one right there. When you consider everything around how high profile the fight it was, the mystique around Anderson Silva, and then to have his leg snap like a twig like that, almost like it was unbelievable. You even see the image of it where his leg like almost wraps around Weidman's leg, like it whips around. It's fucking nuts.
There was another one happened in England. I think it was Cage Rage, and same thing, throws a leg kick, guy blocks it, but he doesn't know that his leg is broke, and he pulls his leg back and he goes to stand on it. No. And it, obviously, you can imagine what happens. It just bends over and he falls on the floor. Absolutely fucking disgusting. Oh, man, that would be hard to come back from. You know, and just staying on that one for a second, remember afterwards, Chris Weidman, I'm not hating on Chris Weidman. I like Chris, we're good. But there was a lot of controversy there because he was celebrating like he'd won the fight legitimately. And I guess he did. Listen, a win's a win, but where do you stand on that, Lewis?
Not on Anderson Silva's leg, I'll tell you that much.
I set you up there, didn't I? That was a good one. Well spotted.
Thank you. So he won. It's hard to not celebrate in that moment. I'm not going to fault anybody who, in their moment of adrenaline kicking in, emotions, he has the feeling of victory. He won. He got past Anderson Silva. I think the same way that I guess Joe Rogan talked about how you shouldn't throw a microphone in the face of a guy who's just been knocked out. It's like, I'm not going to judge a guy sort of in that moment for, whatever it is, emotions are high. The reality was he was winning the fight, though. Both times he was winning the fight. So I'm not even going to hate on Chris Weidman because I feel bad for him because there's these asterisks surrounding those victories when he was actually doing what he had to do, and he was winning the fight before both of those little freak accidents happened in both of the fights.
Yeah, well, in the first fight, I don't think there's any asterisks there. He was doing well in the fight, and Anderson wasn't paying him the respect that Chris deserved, and he got knocked the fuck out. So there's no asterisks there. At the time,
did you feel that, though? Did you feel like, weren't you kind of like, Anderson could have fucking beat him if he wanted to? I think that was my thought after it.
Yeah, it was, to be honest, and everyone kind of thought, well, Anderson did that to himself almost. But at the end of the day, Chris threw the punch and knocked him out. So he deserves all the credit there. And as you just said, I agree with what you said there, Luce. You're absolutely right. Because when you're going in to train for a fight, when you spend time away from friends and family, time away, you spend all that money training, all the sacrifice, you're doing it because you want to win the fight. You want the end result of that bout, that contest, to be you getting your arm raised and you're the winner. And regardless of however that comes, you still get to celebrate. So Chris celebrated, and rightly so. Anyway, number one, I guess this is the way we're doing it. I actually wanted this as the first one. I wanted this as the first, and Anderson breaking his leg was going to be the last one. I don't know. Again, Harrington just blows my mind. But here was what was meant to be essentially my number 5 pick, but now it's my number 1. Roll the tape or show the tape. Boom. Look at that. That's my toe, Lewis. That's my toe.
I'm more bothered by your fucking toenails.
They're fucking disgusting. But never mind. Anderson Silva breaking his leg. Get that off the screen now, Harrington. We've seen it. Right?
Look at his pinky toe. What is wrong with your pinky toe?
They're fucking disgusting. Get it off, Brian. Hey, do you know, this is the thing. When you spent a lifetime fucking on mats and having your feet stepped on and fucking doing all that shit, you get fucked up feet. But that was when I fought Talis Lightis. And I think it was the second round. It's not a bad injury. I'm kind of being sarcastic and being silly, but it was very bothersome. You know what I mean? Because it just ripped off a massive layer of skin and I couldn't step and I was having to walk on the edge of my leg. And every
it was
time
from the mat?
I think it was from... Because when I'm in a fight, or when I used to be in a fight, and I'm sure a lot of fighters do this now, you know, when you look at the canvas and it's blue, but then you've got the sponsors, right? And you got a big one in the middle, then a few around the outside. When you step on the sponsored part, that's really gritty. It's like sandpaper. But then when you're on the blue, that can be really slippy, and you can slip on that, and you know, your feet will slide and you don't really get your footing. So I always used to try and be on a sponsored patch, because you had more grip, more traction, you could get more power in your punches, things like that. So I must have been on that, and I've just twisted, and it just ripped off all the fucking skin. And listen, it's a pretty pathetic injury. I was supposed to be in there as a laugh at number 5, but it fucking hurt. I'll tell you that. It bloody hurt. That's a fact.
Yeah, anything with your feet where you have to walk on it over and over again sucks. I did recently. I went to a restaurant, and when I don't even know if I could describe it correctly, but I went to go step up. There was like one step and then the door. So there was like essentially just literally one step and then the door. So when I went to go, as the door went to go close, all right, this is going to be hard to explain. The door pulled outward, okay? So when I stepped in, my right foot was still outside below the step. So the door closed on my right foot as I was pulling it up, and it hit the back of my heel and pulled the skin on my heel down as I was stepping into a restaurant. And it wasn't even that brutal, but it's like for a month straight, you feel it every time you take a step. You can't forget about it.
Why were you walking into a restaurant barefooted?
No, I was wearing a sneaker, but the door hit the back of my heel above my sneaker, and it pulled the skin down.
Oh yeah. Things like that, they're horrible. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, people think that me and you were big macho tough guys, but something simple like stubbing a toe. If I stub a toe, I will wake the entire house. If I scream like a maniac, just little things like that, really, you know, they fucking hurt.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it. If you have any other injuries, if you think we missed anything, please shoot us an email. We also are always taking your questions as well. bympod@gmail.com. Please send us, because maybe there's some other ones we missed. I think the John Jones versus Chael Sonnen injury was a great one as well.
What was that? What was that because I saw that on your list, and I'm like, what is the Chael Sonnen injury?
Well, it's John Jones's injury. He split like his toes, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's right.
He had to like take a seat, and they were trying to interview him, and he was just like, it was blinding pain. You could just tell John Jones was fucking in pain in that moment, dude. And the reality is, yeah, look, ooh,
toes again.
Ooh.
Can we mock John Jones's fucking toes now, dickhead?
Look at those. Look at his. At least his fucking toes all go the same way. One of your toes was fucking pointed fucking east-west.
His toes go the same way. Look at that big toe.
Well, that one.
In the road. What the fuck are you talking about? There's one thing that they do not do is go the same direction. I've got no fucking ground to speak about my feet though.
She's got summer toes. Summer toes go this way. Summer toes go that way.
Oh, everything but a face.
Yep.
So right, what else we do? That was that.
There was one other
other
injury. That's the one that I had on my list. It was an injury he had from the Nate Marquardt fight that left him looking like this.
Handsome and a little more badass than before. Shut up, Harrington. It's not even a bad injury. Jesus Christ.
Frankenstein stitches across his brow.
Hold on. Harrington, in almost every fight, every UFC event, someone gets stitched up. And can we just talk, Harrington, please, stay on the microphone. Can we just talk? My list, I'll look at it. I'll hold it up. Hold on, wait for it to focus. Is it going to focus? There it is. How the fuck do you go to Mike Perry, then Marvin Eastman, then Anderson, and then down? Please explain your logic there, Harrington. How did you compile that list?
Well, Mike Perry was the person on the screen. I figured I would save you for last because it is your show, and obviously your pain is what matters the most to the people watching this.
Good answer.
You know, so I figured we just work from there.
Well, from bottom to top is how I would have worked it in like an actual list. You know, the way it's listed: my toe, Mike Perry, Marvin Eastman, Anderson Silva, the legendary greatest of all time, Anderson Silva. When he broke his leg, it was very shocking. In fact, it had everyone at the Stand Comedy Club in New York thinking that someone had been shot when it actually happened. The reaction was so loud, right, Lewis?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So that's that. That's what happened there. What else happened at the weekend? There was lots of fights. We've done the Anthony Joshua. We've done the UFC. We tried to do a list, and that failed terribly. Tito Ortiz was in action. He took on Alberto Del Rio. Did you see all that stuff, Lewis? I'm sure you didn't see the fight. I never saw the fight, but I saw some of
Out of respect for Jason Perillo, I will not disparage the name of one Mr. Tito Ortiz, but there was a line drawn in the sand between me and Nicole Arbor, and Tito Ortiz decided to stand on that side of the line, and that's fine. Good job, Tito. You beat up Alberto Del Rio. Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, Alberto Del Rio. See, I didn't know, so I looked him up. And but I do remember this fight happening. I remember when I was watching Pride one time, and Mirko Krokop was fighting some guy from Mexico that came in with like the old school Mexican wrestling mask on. And I remember thinking, who the fuck is this idiot? Turns out it was Alberto Del Rio. Hey, but listen, a win's a win. God bless him. He worked hard. He went out there, got a rear naked choke real fast. Not here to break down that fight.
The president tweeted out congratulations. I'm impressed with that. The fact that the president tweeted out like congratulations to Tito Ortiz, a great patriot. You're like, that's another level. The fact that the president's watching wherever the fuck that was being, whatever organization that was. God for that. God bless them.
Yeah. No, you're right. But Tito is the biggest Trump supporter ever. We won't get political, but that's all he goes on about. If you look at his Instagram, yeah. If you look at his Instagram, that's all it is. Trump this, Trump that. So he's a massive Trump supporter. So that's nice that the president reached out to him. As I say, I don't want to break down that fight. What I do want to talk about, though, afterwards, this materialized on Twitter this morning. Of course, Rashad Evans, good friend of mine. Rashad Evans retired recently, and I think he was on a 4 or 5 fight losing streak, and the UFC let him go. And he said he was going to come out of retirement. UFC were going to I think that's when the UFC let him go, because the UFC said, we don't want to give you a fight. So the UFC have released him from his contract. So Rashad, I think, is, looking out there. He's looking to fight again. And anyway, he did fight Tito twice in the UFC. First time they fought to a draw. Then they had a rematch after Tito choked out Ryan Bader. Rashad beat him up pretty goodly. I think he finished him in the first round. I think it was a knee to the body. Anyway, Ali Abdelaziz, who manages Rashad, called out Tito this morning and said, you want to fight Rashad for a third time? I think that'd be a great fight. Actually a proper fight for Tito. No disrespect. I'm not berating his win at the weekend. I'm not. But still, Alberto Del Rio isn't a household name in mixed martial arts. I think that's a good time for a rematch, though. Rashad and Tito now outside the UFC, because Tito, listen, say what you want. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He knocked out Chuck Liddell, beat Alberto Del Rio. I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm trying to be nice. And Rashad has lost his last 5. I don't know. I'd like to see that fight. I think if Rashad wants to fight again, which I'd rather not see him fight, but if he wants to, I think that's a great fight for both of them. If Tito was to win, it's a really, really good win for Tito-ish. And if Rashad wins, then good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a place for, retired UFC legends, guys that have been around the sport for a while. Those are guys that should be fighting each other, and that's fine. I think that the UFC should be the premier league. And this isn't knocking older UFC fighters. This is saying that, no, they also shouldn't bring in professional wrestlers or celebrities or, YouTube stars, whatever. I guess that guy Jake Paul, they're trying to get him to the UFC. And so I think the UFC should treat it like it's professional basketball or baseball or football, where you have to be the absolute best of the best. You're competing for a title. Once you're no longer in sort of that race anymore, maybe it's time to step aside. And I think there's a lot of room, though, in Bellator, American Combate or whatever that organization was called, for guys that have names and people that want to see them fight. Look, Chuck Liddell fights, as much we talk shit, I watch Chuck Liddell fight every single time. I'll watch Fedor fight every single time. You know what I'm saying? Those guys aren't going to go and compete in the UFC for a title, but they're super entertaining. And if they're fighting guys that are appropriate for them to fight, why not? It's the best sport in the world, baby. It's fights.
Yeah, and I'm not against people making money. But the thing is with fighting, you want to see the best fighters on the planet. That's what the UFC is meant to be, right? You don't want to go and buy a ticket to watch a washed-up fighter, a guy that's lost his last 5 or 6 in a row, right? And then now, but it's okay, because we're going to match him up also with someone else that's lost 5 and 6 in a row. So, and they're both 57 years old now. You know what I mean? One of them's got a walking stick these days, and he hasn't won a fight in forever. But it's okay, because we're matching them up against one another. No, I'm not going to part ways with my hard-earned money for that. You know what I'm saying? People want to see athletes, certainly when it comes to fighting. I mean, basketball, football, whatever, that's different. You know what I mean? You can watch legends of the game go and play, and they'll still have a good, skillful game. You know, maybe the pace is a little slower or whatever. But fighting is such a different sport. Fighting, you're trying to do damage to somebody. And once you pass your prime, you shouldn't really be fighting anymore. A, because you can get injured. And B, if you're the consumer, you can go watch fighters in the prime. So why would you choose to part ways with your money to watch somebody that is, you know, way past their prime? Now, there's the nostalgia effect. I get that. They could be a big fan and they want to see him fight and compete and get the picture and put it on Instagram and all that type of stuff. But honestly, I hear what you're saying and I understand it, but I'm not sure if I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple as this. Like, every man has a right to do with his body what he wants to do. And, you know, yes, whereas I agree, I just feel like Tito Ortiz, if he's able to get fights and people are going to pay him to go fight guys like, you know, Alberto Del Rio, who hasn't fought in 10 years, much less has had a win, you know, good for him then. If people are going to pay to see it, they're going to pay to see it.
1 million%. 1 million%. See, I didn't say 100. I said a million. Hey, good for Tito. Good for Tito Ortiz. You can't hate on that. He went out there, he trained. You know, he worked his ass off. He got in great shape, went out there, got a quick win. You know what I mean? Maybe, you know, just because he beat him so easily kind of discredits his opponent. Had it been a 3-round war, mate, isn't it weird? Isn't the public weird like that? Just because he went out there and he smoked him, it's like, oh, he fucking sucked. Had it been a 3-round war and he got the rear naked choke in the last 5 seconds, it might have been like, fucking dude, he was tough, man. That was a great fight. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, look, there's no... If he would have had a 3-round war with Alberto Del Rio, who has not fought since February 27, 2010, when he lost in the second round to Mamoru Yamamoto, everyone would have said, holy shit, Tito, time to fucking hang it up, baby boy. You couldn't beat up this retired pro wrestler who hasn't fought in 9 years. So I don't know that would have done any favors for Tito. Yeah, I'm not hating. You know, people are willing to pay for fucking Jake Paul versus what's his name boxing matches. There's that great quote from Dana White back in the day where he's sort of describing why mixed martial arts is the greatest, and he's like, or maybe it's Rogan, it's one of them too. But they're talking about how there'll be a basketball game on one corner, a baseball game on the next corner, a football game on the next corner, and then a fist fight will break out of the next corner, and everybody from every game will run over to go watch that fist fight. That idea. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with, and, you know, I'm just, you know, it is what it is. There has to be a place for these guys to go and fight. And so the truth is, like, the only thing I'll agree with you on, because I sort of feel this way, and this is me being a snob, because it's a snobby thought. It's like the same way that when non-comedians go do comedy, comedians almost go like, yeah, you know, that guy's, you know, fuck that guy. You know, he's sort of taking the place for the next guy who could actually be doing a good job. I think there's something to that. Maybe as a fighter, especially a fighter who stepped aside and retired, you know, after a very long career in yourself, you do kind of look at it as like, well, all right, dude, at one point you have to hang it up and you have to give the opportunity to the next guys. But I think it's hard. I think if you still feel good and this is what you've known for your whole life, like Tito Ortiz, since he was 19 years old, he was in the UFC. Yeah. His whole life, everything he knows, his social circles, his friends, his whole world has been mixed martial arts. And then he's winning, and people are willing to pay him to go fight these guys. Like, fuck it, I wouldn't retire either.
Hey, 100%. I mean, I don't know what he got paid at the weekend, but it would have been decent money. I guarantee that. Tito's not going to fight for cheap. So, hey, I'm not hating on him fighting, not at all. And, you know, it's funny you touched on something there, and I completely agree because, I mean, I'm recently retired. It's been about 18 months now, say, getting on for 2 years almost. And, you know, I have those emotions myself. Of course, you know, I had them this week. Wednesday night, I was at home. I was fed up. I was fucking sad. I felt worthless. I thought, what am I doing with my life here? You know, I'm just at a quiet period. I had the knee surgery, so I wasn't doing anything. I haven't been traveling. I haven't been working for the UFC. I haven't got a movie coming up or anything like that. So it's a quiet phase right now, which I should be enjoying, you know what I mean? But I like to be kept busy. And I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? And I was like, you know, if I had a fight to train for, that'd be different. You know what I mean? And then I started getting all worked up because I felt pissed off. But I started feeling sorry for myself, thinking, because I know I can fight. I know I still have the skills to do it, and I still have that fire inside me. And the physicalities, I mean, my knee was fucked, but that's all mended up almost now, you know. But my eyes, I can't risk going blind. And it's a very, very it's a very tough decision because I know physically I can still do it. Of course I can. I mean, that guy down at the gym this morning doesn't know how lucky he was. Do you know what I mean? But I can't do it because I can't risk going blind because my good eye, I have issues in my good eye. My bad eye is completely fucked. And my good eye, as I said, I have issues. So I'm not willing to risk going blind. obviously nobody wants to go blind, but it's a tough one. And that's why I understand fighters coming out of retirement. And it's not always for money. A lot of the time it's for a feeling of purpose. And as you just said with Tito Ortiz, from 19 years old to now 43, that's all he's ever done. That's all he's ever done. You know what I mean? So you're almost on autopilot, and certainly you say, right, okay, well, I'm going to quit and I'm going to do this. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be a car dealer. I'm going to be whatever it is. And then that doesn't work out. And then you're like, oh shit, hold on. Well, do you know what? I can come out of retirement. I can get that fight. I can get that adrenaline rush. I can get that, I can be the center of attention again. And everybody talking to me, doing interviews, promoting the fight. All of a sudden you feel like you got purpose again. So I'm not judging anybody for coming out of retirement, because I've had those same emotions myself. And it is a very understandable emotion for any fighter, because that's their wheelhouse. That's what they do. And there's a reason why they became a fighter in the first place. So no judgment on my side.
Yeah. I think you could take Alberto Del Rio right now with the knee and one eye. I think pretty easily you take Alberto Del Rio.
I'll do it in fucking under 3 minutes as well. But it's funny. It's funny that we're talking about this, talking about fighters coming out of retirement. There has been a big tease recently from Dana White and one Floyd Mayweather. I think we talked about this recently, but what did he say, Harrington or Lewis? Because you mentioned this earlier. They've made an announcement about making an announcement.
Which I don't have a problem with. What is the actual thing that Dana White said, Harrington? Pull it up for a minute.
Dana White says that he went to a Clipper game and just sitting there talking to Floyd Mayweather in the stands. They made a deal. They have a deal. They're going to get something on paper probably by March for an event that'll take place in October or November.
But no details. We don't know if it's a UFC event, boxing event. We don't know. It could be a fucking, it could be an Easter egg hunt. We have no idea. This is a beautiful promotional move by Dana White, which I respect so much. He's got nothing going on. It's a little bit of a quiet time, no major announcements. He's like, you know what? Time to make an announcement about an announcement that doesn't even exist yet.
Whoa. He's got nothing going on. They've just announced Conor versus Cowboy. That's happening January 18th. They just announced the longer-awaited Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. They've got 3 title fights happening this weekend. There's nothing in that sentence that is true about Dana. Dana's always got something to announce. They have a fight card nearly every fucking weekend.
Nothing's going on. Quiet before the storm. It's dead silent here in the UFC and Dana White camp. So you know what? Makes an announcement about an announcement, which fine, good. I respect it. That's a promotional move right there. He just said, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Let's throw it out there. Let's get people clicking.
We did talk about this a little bit recently, didn't we? We did talk about it, and I think we alluded to what we think it's going to be. I'd put money on it not being Floyd Mayweather fighting in the UFC. I think that's a given. That's not going to happen. So it's either Floyd's just getting involved with Zuffa Boxing and bringing some of his fighters over to Zuffa Boxing, some of the people that Mayweather manages under his managerial umbrella, or he's going to box another UFC guy. And then I did see little rumors. I don't know if it's true, but I saw Masvidal retweeted something or reposted something on his story about Masvidal boxing Mayweather. I mean, that'd be big. That'd be huge. That would be absolutely massive.
Yeah, I guess it would be. Isn't Masvidal too big, though? Mayweather's a lot smaller than Masvidal.
Yes, he is. But Masvidal Mayweather. Masvidal said that he could make 154 pounds. That's what I saw. He put it on his Instagram. Yes, it's true. I can make 154 pounds.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, he made 155 as a mixed martial artist for a while. So, sure. Nobody's beating Floyd Mayweather in boxing, pure boxing. There's no MMA fighter on the planet that's coming in and boxing Floyd Mayweather and beating him. It's silly. It's like saying somebody's going to go beat fucking, the best basketball player. It's just not going to happen. It's too specific of a sport. But yeah, I would watch it.
How likely do you think it is that it's another Conor fight? A Conor rematch? Because if it's that, oh God, I mean, the thing, I'll watch it, but it's been done. It can't be that. I don't think so, because that's already been done, been there, done it for massive pay-per-view buys. Everybody made a ton of money. I doubt it's that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's more likely Mayweather partnering with Zuffa Boxing and starting to shape that, because boxing, we talked about this very recently, it just seems to be on the map again. There's big fights that are happening, every other weekend now. We just seem to be hearing about another big boxing card. And I think the amount of money that's being left on the table, I think the UFC promotes fights right, and they understand how to build a brand. And I think if they wanted to create a real brand for boxing, which we've really never seen before, WBO, WBC, whatever, there's no branding there at all. Everything from the way the belts look, they don't even look attractive. They look like fucking pieces of tin. They don't look great, in my opinion. I don't like the boxing belts. I know you're gonna fucking shit on me right now talking about how cool they are.
No. Go on. Talking about what? What was I going to say, Lewis? You read my mind. You know what I was going to say. Extract the info and tell the people what I was going to say about the belts.
I thought you were gonna say the belts are cool.
They're all right. No. Some of those belts, yeah, I prefer the UFC belts, of course. I'm biased, but no, some of them are all right. But you're right what you said, though. You are absolutely correct. There is no brand in boxing. Yes, there's WBO and IBO and all this type of stuff. But, you know, like Andy Ruiz or now Anthony Joshua has all those belts. You see the pictures of them all standing there holding all the belts? I guarantee, unless you were like the fucking biggest hardcore boxing fan, you could not pick out which belt tallies with the promotion that he owns. Do you know what I'm saying? You're right. If they could come in with a big brand, Zuffa Boxing, you know what I mean? Say, oh, he's the Zuffa Boxing champion. Made that the biggest one. You're right. I mean, that hasn't really been done before.
I don't know that Zuffa Boxing is the best name either. They need to come up with a cool, you know,
ZF.
Whatever it is, you know, there's a way to do it. And I think that it's going to take, you know, you just need to have some sort of organization. You need to have some sort of TV deal in place. You need to have, like, people need to know where they're going and what they're getting. And, you know, it's why the internet has the best shit in the world, but it's still why we watch dumb TV shows on NBC and ABC. We're all kind of stupid, and we need to sort of be led to the, you know, to whatever the content is. And I think that boxing just in general is why I never really truly got into it. I just needed it to be a little bit easier to follow.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I don't really see what your point is there. It's pretty easy. I understand what you mean because there is all these different fights. Like Saturday night, there was a fight at the Barclays Center. Chris Eubank Jr. was fighting there. Then there was the fights in Saudi Arabia. And as I said a moment ago, unless you're a hardcore fan, it is really hard to keep up. But that's the problem or the downfall with there being several promotions. Just like in the UFC, sometimes it does happen. The Bellator and the UFC will be on the same night. Maybe there's a ONE FC fight out in Asia as well. But yeah, there you go. Should we do some questions? I'm going to have to run to the bathroom. I'm holding my penis.
Ew. Go. I'll do plugs and then we'll do questions. Go. Stop holding your penis.
Edit this bit out. But yeah, I need to pee. I've needed it for the last 20 minutes. Bad.
All right, do your thing. Really quick, I'll take a moment and plug a couple things. Number one, you love the show. We're available on iTunes. We're available on Stitcher, Google Play, everywhere. Go subscribe, rank, review, tell some friends about the show. We also can be, the latest 30 episodes are available on YouTube as well, so go subscribe at our YouTube channel. Leave us some kind comments. I'm on tour right now as well. If you guys want to see me, go check me out live. You can grab tickets to any of the shows that I'm at right at Louis J. Gomez Presents, louisjgomez.com, including Skankfest, which is going to be happening. Hopefully, the Believe You Me podcast. As long as there isn't a UFC event happening that weekend, we will be there for sure. Believe You Me at Skankfest. And last but not least, if you love the show, every episode we've ever done is available on demand at your fingertips. Ad-free, uncensored. Whenever you want to watch all the entire library, go to gasdigitalnetwork.com and use the promo code BYM. Get a 14-day free trial, and you also get pre-release on those shows, uncensored shows, and ad-free shows. So you guys don't have to listen to ads or any of that other crap. All right, so let's get some questions going. If you want to join the conversation, bympod@gmail.com is the email address, bympod@gmail.com. We are taking video questions, audio questions, and anything else that you guys want to send our way. We love showing the fan art as well. So, Bisping, you're back. All right, cool. So let's do the first question. Who do we got? We got Ian, who's... Are these video questions?
Yeah, they are 2 video questions today. One's a question, one is a fan submission.
Good. Okay. Good. Let's go with the Ian, number 1.
Yo, Shannon, I miss you. We miss you. Come back, please. Harrington is horrible. Anyways, Harrington, if you haven't skipped this already, I'm looking at the betting lines, and it says Uriah Faber is a 325 underdog against Peter Yan. Michael, I know you have way more knowledge than the schloob, so tell me why I shouldn't bet on Uriah Faber. Lewis, I love your fucking comedy. I listen to the Real Ass podcast all the time. Michael, love you as a fighter. Anyways, keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to keep listening. Have a good one, guys. Tell me why I shouldn't bet.
It's a real ass dude with a real messy room.
Yeah. Multiple fucking compliments to you. For me, yeah, you're a great fighter. Lewis, listen to your podcast, Realize podcast, this, that, da. Michael, yeah, you were all right. Anyway, back to the thing. So what was he asking? He's asking Uriah Faber is the underdog, and he's asking why he shouldn't bet on Uriah Faber. Is that correct?
Yeah. Peter Yan, who I don't know much about Peter Yan, but it seems
Piotr Yan. Piotr, yeah. Well, listen, first of all, I want to say this. He had an Oceanside beanie on. The reason why that resonated is I just started a new show on Amazon, Animal Kingdom. If you haven't seen it, check it out. You'll like it, Lewis. Have you seen Animal Kingdom?
no.
It's good. Watch it out. It's on Amazon Prime Video, set in Oceanside, California. Just a bunch of nasty bastards robbing people, but it's good action. You know, they're doing drug deals or whatever. It's just basically about a gang of criminals down at Oceanside and the drama that they get into. But it's pretty good. It's an easy watch. It's very fast moving. It's not the most mentally stimulating, but it's a pretty good watch. So check that out. Here's the thing. Going back to the question, Uriah Faber is taking on Piotr Yan. Who is Polish, who's young, who's in his prime, who's on a roll inside the UFC. I'm just bringing up his record. So
He's got one loss on his record, which is years ago, 2016. He's got a split decision on his record, but everything else has been perfect. And he's 5-0 in the UFC. Few stoppages, few decisions, and with wins recently over John Dodson and Jimmy Rivera. So yeah, I mean, obviously coming in and killing it.
Exactly. And then on the flip side, you got Uriah Faber. Now listen, Uriah Faber, legend of the game, Hall of Famer, maximum respect, friend of the show. You know, nothing bad to say about Uriah Faber, but he did retire. Why do you retire? Well, there's always a reason for why you retire. You're getting old, you're getting injured. You've been at the top of the mountain and you start to, you start to not be able to compete at the highest level anymore. And you say, you know what? I'm going to retire. Uriah did that. He came out of retirement. He knocked out Ricky Simone in the first round and he looked outstanding. But just going back to Saturday night's fights, Ricky Simone fought at the weekend, and I think he lost by a decision, but he didn't look incredible. Uriah Faber looked sensational when he knocked him out, but still, Ricky Simone's a tough guy. But if you look at the trajectory, Uriah Faber's been around for a long, long time. Piotr Yan is a young guy. He's 13-1. He's 5-0 inside the UFC, taking on great talent like John Dodson, Douglas De Silva, DeAndrade. He's tough as hell as well. So I think that's the reason why he is the favorite. And normally the bookies, for the most part, they get it right because they have real money on the line. Do you know what I mean? So,
and also Peter Yan, his last fight was a win over Jimmy Rivera, and the fight that I believe Uriah Faber retired afterward was when he lost to Jimmy Rivera. So they're one common opponent. So it's very obvious that he would be the favorite, but do you think he should be that much of a favorite? I mean, Uriah Faber is very, he's such an experienced fighter that it's sort of, I understand what the kid's saying, but being a plus 325 underdog is pretty big of an underdog.
Oh, no, it really is. And yeah, I don't know if I agree with that because Uriah Faber is certainly capable of beating this guy. He is. If Uriah Faber comes out and he's got no injuries and he's had a great training camp and his head is screwed on, he's got the experience and he's got the skills, to beat this man. So I agree with him being the underdog, but yeah, you're right, Lewis. Maybe not by that much.
All right, next question. It's going to be from Ben Finley.
This is not a question so much as it is a little bit of a performance piece.
A performance piece. Oh, tell me it's another rapper. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Please, no more raps.
Benjamin Finley. Believe in Me podcast rap.
Always a rap.
On Harrington. What's up, Michael and Lewis? Never thought that I would do this, but y'all funny enough to make a couple movies. Podcast colder than the flu is, stouter than the brew is, and I'm sure Harrington smells worse than embalming fluid. Had to roast him on this beat, roast him on this flow. His face looks like the feet of Quasimodo. His nose resembles a beak of a fucking dodo. Ask how many days are in the week and he'll say, I don't know. His body looks like the dog whose nuts have been snipped. His job is like a tightrope and he's trying not to slip. But when I send in the question, it better make the clip. So I'm coming to New York to make his nose drip. So the next time I email, you better say, oh hell, and submit my shit or your body parts on wholesale. You're slower than an O-snail. Keep riding Lewis's coattail. And if this one don't make the cut, then it will not go well. Harrington.
Sick. That was really, really good. That was fantastic. We need to use that as our intros or outro music or something. That was good. I like it. Had a good beat, well rapped, good lyrics. Obviously, talked tons of shit about Harrington, so that's always a good sign. Thank you, sir, for sending that in.
That was awesome. Very cool.
And you know what? Actually, that reminds me of something, which I don't know if I was necessarily going to talk about it, but yesterday, what's his name? Juice Nation or Juice World? Do you know who this guy is?
I heard he passed away. I have no idea who he is.
Ellie's favorite rapper. Ellie, she came downstairs yesterday. Oh my God. I'm like, what's going on? My favorite rapper's died. She cried.
No, she didn't.
Her favorite rapper, Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD has died. He had a seizure at Chicago airport because he's drinking too much lean. And I'm like, what the hell is lean? No, it's lean is cough medicine and codeine and something else all mixed together, and they drink a lot of it. And now
they just rename it? Wasn't that fucking scissor or some shit years ago?
Yeah, scissor.
Yeah, purple drank. I think the kids call it as well. Now we don't know for a fact it was lean, but in the story that I read, it did say that it's he has a history of using this and it can cause seizures. So yeah, that was really, really sad. And the fact that he was a rapper, it just kind of triggered my mind there. So kids, if you're out there, don't be leaning on the lean.
Yeah, don't be purple drinking, baby boys. Relax, okay? Purple drink in my day was fucking Kool-Aid. That's all it was. You know, it's sad, very sad when anyone passes away, but I don't know if there's any artist in the world that would pass away that would bring me to tears. You're my friend, Michael Bisping. If you died, I'd be like, that sucks. We're going to really have to...
If I died... No, Lewis, come on. If I died, what would the reaction be? Because I'd at least expect a bit of a tear, if not for me, for the sake of the podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Believe You Me with Mickey Gall, here live in studio.
Yeah, exactly. Just bringing another Michael MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? They'll get over it soon enough. Oh, Mickey Gall, bring him in. He's like, he'll do half a British accent for half an episode, and then they'll be like, Michael's talking way better these days, and he's making proper coherent points, and he seems to be flying himself up to New York and in studio a lot these days.
Have you? I mean, is there any artist that's ever died where you've cried? I'm trying to think if that's ever happened. For me, I mean, when Patrice O'Neal died, I cried, but I didn't know him super well, but it was so close to like, he was like one of the biggest influences on my comedy. And I went to his funeral. Like I've been to his house before. Like, I knew him casually, and, my opinion was, the greatest comedian of all time. So you're losing somebody who like is never going to create, something that really influenced me. So I guess, look, if your daughter was a fucking mumble rapper, and that was her biggest influence, I would go, you know what? Fine. She can cry. But that's the only way.
Yeah, no, well, number one, she's not a mumble rapper. And I don't know if she cried. Maybe I exaggerated there. But she was like slightly affected. But no, nobody ever made me cry. No one dying brought me to tears. To be honest, I've been pretty lucky. I haven't known anybody. I mean, I've had a couple of aunties pass away to cancer. By the way, UFC did a great job at the weekend highlighting, what was it? I forget his name from ESPN. Oh God, I feel terrible now. Anyways,
they did a great job highlighting his name.
What was his name, Harrington? I forget. I'm not an ESPN guy.
Stuart Scott.
Stuart Scott, that's it. Pardon me, I didn't mean any disrespect. They honored him, and obviously Daniel Cormier came on, spoke about his father passing away and things like that. So it was a beautiful piece, of well done to everybody there. But no, I haven't really had too many loved ones pass away. I've been very lucky like that, and I haven't really. No, I've never been too upset like that. For a martial artist, the classic one that people go to is Bruce Lee. You know what I mean? You see a lot of martial artists. They go and pay the respects and they get the picture at the gravestone and things like that. But no, not for me, Lewis. I never had anyone pass away, as an inspiration that died and that upset me. No.
Well, it's because I asked you simply if you had ever had a celebrity pass away and made you cry. And then we found out a much darker truth about Michael Bisping, in that he's never cried from anybody dying ever. And I want to see that's fucking morbid. That's warped.
No, what I said was
just Tito.
I've cried my eyes out for Tito, that fucking dog. I've got his ashes in there. I have his ashes in there. Look, wait there. Wait.
Oh, shit. He's never cried for a human being. His grandma, his grandpa, cousins, family members, not shed a tear. Couldn't even imagine. But his fucking dog, Michael Bisping took 2 weeks off of the podcast when his dog died.
Look, here he is. God bless his soul. I said to Rebecca, I said, babe, we got to take these down to the dog beach. We got to scatter them. What are we doing keeping the ashes? What are we doing? But there they are. There's Tito. Love you, buddy.
There we go. Aw.
Tito, look at that. Yeah, no, I've been pretty lucky. People haven't died. I mean, of course, I had a couple of aunties, and that was very, very sad. I'm talking like, immediate family members. So I've been pretty lucky. And that was a morbid way to end this podcast. What was otherwise a light-hearted affair. End it on people dying and Tito's ashes.
He's going to cry right now. Everyone look at him. He's about to cry with Tito's ashes in his hands.
Let's just end the show. Okay, let's just go in there. Edit this bit out, please, Brian, because it's not fair. He's in heaven, Lewis, okay? Stop it. You don't make light of this situation because dogs are people too.
All right, we got to go. Thank you so much for watching Believe You Me. We'll be back on Wednesday. Another show this week coming at you. Until then, check you next time.
Until then.